Professor Wahajuddin Alvi Sahab, Mr. Nagesh Singh, Mr. Siddiqui, Professor Nimit Chaudhary, our former Secretary Tourism, Honorable Mr. S.K. Mishra, Mr. Gyan from Ministry of Tourism, esteemed delegates from India and abroad, teaching faculty, staff, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. I would begin with complimenting the Department of Tourism, Hotel, Hospitality and Heritage Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, for organizing such a mega international conference on a subject and a sector which matters to India much more than most of the countries in the world. I would also like to congratulate the Jamia Millia University for having positioned itself as 12th amongst all the universities in India as per NIRF rating. And I wish that Jamia Millia University rises to a higher rank in the coming years with the concerted efforts which everyone in this university is trying to make. I would personally thank the department for having given me this opportunity to associate with this environmental friendly conference. Ladies and gentlemen, in my address today, I would prefer to dwell more on the rural tourism. But before touching this issue, it is necessary to understand that rurality and ruralism is not only predominant and still relevant in India, it is also a physical necessity for the very act of man's survival. Mahatma Gandhi viewed that India lives in villages, and it still holds good from demographic point of view. Despite differences and variations in socio-cultural and economic spheres, the village environment, friends, potentially strengthens the social bonds among individuals and communities. It promotes establishment of stability, and it ensures preservation of culture. The diversity of culture, the languages, the customs, the religions and lifestyle, which is India's USP. USP we call as unique selling proposition. In the tourism world is a distinctive character of rural India. This unique feature of Indian society is India's strength, which needs to be showcased before the world and urban Indians. The irony, however, is that rural tourism, despite being a gold mine for India, not much mining and extraction has been done so far. And this is that reason why I complimented the Department of Tourism for having taken up the cause of rural tourism. I'm also very happy that the conference is being supported and sponsored by Ministry of Tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the core issue of tourism and subsequently to rural tourism. Why we have been talking so much about tourism? Why the Honorable Prime Minister, as Professor Nimit Chaudhary had mentioned some time ago, had specifically picked up the T of tourism from the 5 Ts. That's because the universe, everyone, the entire world has realized that it is tourism which is a major engine of economic growth. It is pro-poor, it is inclusive, it is sustainable, it is employment generator, and it is contributes to a very large extent to the GDP of an economy. Coming to India, tourism contributes almost 7% in the overall GDP of India. It's huge. If you compare it with many countries in the world, it will be much less than 7%. The employment share that we have from tourism sector is 12%, both direct and indirect employment. 2017, ladies and gentlemen, we earned as much as $28 billion in foreign exchange, which amounts to almost 1,80,000 crore of rupees coming through tourism into India. If you talk of domestic tourism, 2 billion Indian tourists will be traveling within India. And if you see our growth rate in terms of what The world is recording, over the last 2 years, we have been recording double-digit growth, almost 14 to 15%, as compared to 6 to 7%, which has been recorded the world over. So, ladies and gentlemen, the matter is that tourism, we are heading very fast in the tourism sector, and it is one of the sunrise sectors. It should have been catered to, it should have been, more concentration should have been given much before, but India had other issues, it had other core problems which had to be addressed. Now those problems have been ironed out. It is the time that tourism has to be given due importance. Coming to rural tourism, which is the subject of today's seminar in the conference as well. Why rural tourism is so important to India? Friends, India is incredible because India offers almost all the tourism products under a single roof. We have ancient history and the oldest civilization. We are a land of heritage with forts, palaces, and monuments. We are one of the richest countries in the world in terms of number of World Heritage Sites. We have 36 World Heritage Sites and 1 World Heritage City, Ahmedabad, which has been announced by UNESCO lately. We have the Himalayas, we have the exotic hills in Northeast, we have pristine beaches, we have cultural heritage with diversities of religion, languages, customs, dresses, lifestyle, which are unique to the world. And we are a land of spirituality with famous religion shrines. And friends, all these unique tourism products that India owns are found in abundance in rural India. You will be surprised to know that amongst 36 World Heritage Sites, only 6 or 7 World Heritage Sites are located in urban India. Rest of them are all in the rural setup. Are we aware of the fact that around 75% of foreign tourists coming into India still take the Golden Triangle tour, which means landing at Delhi, moving on to Agra for Taj Mahal, and then shifting to Jaipur and back to their country? Now, have you ever imagined how much is this class of tourists missing the real India? They are missing the majority of World Heritage Sites. They are missing the beauty of nature, the fresh air, the wildlife, the flora and fauna. They are missing the mystique mountains and valleys. They are missing the adventure activities like trekking on mountains, gliding in the air, rowing on the rivers. They are missing the taste of rural cuisines and sleeping on charpais. They are missing the visits to agriculture fields and farms. And last but not the least, they go back without seeing the rich cultural heritage and our cultural diversities for which India is known all over the world for ages. The tourists coming to India, especially from USA, UK, and Europe, ladies and gentlemen, they account for more than 60% of the total tourists who are coming into India. And when they are coming to India, they're not coming to see the multi-storied buildings. They're not coming to see the skyscrapers. They're not coming to stay in 5-star hotels. They have better skyscrapers, better multi-storied buildings, and better hotels in their country rather than India. They are coming with the idea to experience India as a cultural and people's destination. They are coming to India to witness the land of heritage. They are coming to be blessed with the land of spirituality and religion. They are coming to see in what way India is a mystique land. And they are coming to India to see how India is really incredible. It's therefore necessary, ladies and gentlemen, that we bring about a paradigm change and shift in the itinerary of the tourists coming to India, as also in the urban tourist who is traveling within India, who are still focused on certain well-known destinations and cannot go beyond Taj Mahal. Now, I recall one of the meetings, Mr. Chaudhary was referring to some of the issues which the Prime Minister has pointed out. In one of the meetings we had, when the Prime Minister of India called us, all the secretaries, together to discuss certain sectors, and we were divided into various groups, 8 groups. We worked on several themes. One of the themes was related to tourism, which came under employment sector. Now, while he himself made a presentation, PowerPoint presentation, and when he came to tourism, he said and pointed out that tourism ministry, the tourism sector has to look beyond Taj Mahal. Now, what he meant was that you have to concentrate on the lesser known destinations also. You have to concentrate, you have to flag other themes which India is strong in. So coming to the same point, rural tourism is one of that area which is an unexplored area, untapped potential, which India has to be focused by all of us. I also remember I was in Secretary Tourism in the department in government of Rajasthan, and this was about 12, 13 years old, 2004, 5, 6 I'm talking of. Then I also became registrar cooperatives in the same government and also the secretary in the cooperative department. Now, as you know, cooperatives and agriculture and rural areas, they are linked with each other. So what we discussed and tried, that I launched a scheme called Raj Gramya. Now, Raj Gramya, Raj stands for Rajasthan and Gramya is rural. So both the ministries, both the departments, tourism, since I had already worked in tourism, and I came into cooperatives, so we brought the cooperatives and tourism together. So it was like a cooperative tourism. Now, what was the main idea? The Rajasthan, as you know, is a destination where people, both the international and national tourists, they come in very large number. Now, one thing I would like to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, that at this stage in India, it is not possible for a tourist to come all the way from abroad, only to see a village, only to sit on a charpai, only to enjoy the mountains and the valleys, or to see the flora and fauna. He would like to accompany this experience with the experience, a bigger experience. He clubs Taj Mahal with going to another place. Or maybe in Rajasthan, when he comes to Jaipur, he has a day left with him. Or maybe we can create another day. We can extend his stay. The stay can be made longer. It should be made longer. That is one of the policies of the Ministry of Tourism and the entire tourism industry in India, that if somebody has planned to stay for 2 days, you create an opportunity for them so that he stays for yet another day. And what does he do for the third day? Take him to a village. You identify a rural village 60, 70 kilometers away from that particular destination, and take him for a day, half a day, let him enjoy the rural environment, let him enjoy the rural cuisine, let him not stay there, because we still do not have enough infrastructure for him. Though we have resorts, we have havelis deep into the areas, we have forest lodges, but they are very less in number. We can't think of bulk, tourists going into rural areas and staying there for a good number of days, because we need accommodation infrastructure. Now, till such time that doesn't come, we developed a homestay arrangement. Now, homestay is another revolution which has been created, and Government of India, the Ministry of Tourism, has taken up in a big manner. I'm not talking of Airbnbs and other agencies. I'm talking of the homestays where the homes are located in deep rural areas. Now, if you promote homestays, you can promote rural tourism, because the first thing that one would like to do and one would like to have when he goes to a village, that he should get a good, safe accommodation. Even if it is not a 5-star accommodation, even if it is not a 4-star accommodation, he wants a safe and comfortable accommodation. And homestay facility is providing that kind of facility, and can provide in future also. So promotion of homestay has been one of the policy areas in the Ministry of Tourism, so that rural tourism also develops. So I was coming to Raj Gramya. We created these 5 or 6 villages around Udaipur, around Jodhpur, around Jaipur, around Ajmer. So anyone who wishes to spend a day in rural area, the cooperative structure, which is a PAX, Primary Agriculture Cooperative Society, they will take care of that guest. Now, since PACs basically are doing multifarious activities apart from giving crop loan, and they are always, in a poor economic condition. So this could have been one of their incomes. So we launched this scheme basically. Now, what this scheme has done was, it was a good beginning. The realization was made in a state like Rajasthan, which is purely agrarian, which is purely rural compared to many other states of the country. The concept was created, the concept was initiated. And today, there are many places. Samod village is one area, which is close to Samod Haveli, which has developed into a rural tourism site. And mind you, today, Government of India, Ministry of Tourism, has launched a scheme in which rural tourism sites, as many as 150 rural tourism village sites have been approved, out of which more than 40 have been operationalized. There is a scheme, there are guidelines of Ministry of Tourism to offer as much as 50 lakhs assistance to any village which wants to create an infrastructure to have rural tourism in their particular village. Apart from them, the scheme guidelines which I have mentioned about the ministry, the central government, the state governments, my friend Mr. Nagesh had mentioned about the efforts which have been made under the Ministry of Rural Development. Now, ultimately, when we talk of infrastructure, it is the Rural Development Ministry and many other ministries combinedly which are creating that infrastructure, even if the Tourism Ministry is not asking for it. The road connectivity, in fact, we had meetings with railway ministries, we had meetings with civil aviation, we used to have regular interactions with transport ministries, primarily to see that there is a last mile connectivity, there is the connectivity to the destination. Today, I would like to mention that a place like Hampi, which is a World Heritage Site, it is difficult to reach that place. From Bangalore, it will take about 6 to 7 hours if you want to travel by road. Why can't we have an airport there? Why can't we have an airstrip there? Why can't it be connected with the fast road? Now, these are the areas. Now, World Heritage Site is waiting for people to reach there. The ease of access, the ease of travel is missing. Now, this kind of infrastructure has been created by Ministry of Rural Development, and for that matter, I would say Railway Ministry. They are connecting to various railway stations. They are stopping the train at those stations. It was our request that you stop at those stations where there is a monument, there is a destination, so that people can reach there. So the highways which are being constructed every day, 17, 18 kilometers, are being constructed. Now, these are all going to be instrumental and useful to create infrastructure for rural tourism to develop. Apart from that, within the rural area, within the village, you need some basic tourism infrastructure, basic amenities and facilities, that if the tourist comes there, wants to stay there, he needs an accommodation, he needs a good toilet, he needs safety and security. This has to be worked upon in the coming years. So the ministry, in addition to the guidelines, it is also developing infrastructure in rural areas, thanks to Swadesh Darshan and Prashad schemes, which are the flagship schemes of ministry. It is also showcasing rural life, art, culture at national and international travel marts and exhibitions. Similarly, it is also promoting Explore Rural India sub-brand. We have the Incredible India brand, which is a global brand, now everyone knows. Within the Incredible India brand, the global brand, a new sub-brand has been created basically to promote rural tourism in the name of Explore Rural India sub-brand. This is also going to have, that is basically to showcase what all we have to offer in the sector of rural tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no dearth of tourism destinations and attractions in rural India. One of the major reasons why we have not been able, as I mentioned earlier, is lack of infrastructure and lack of connectivity. Although huge investments are being made by the ministries, however, the efforts need to be intensified to give rural tourism its due. As I had mentioned about tourism, rural tourism is more pro-poor, it is more inclusive, it is more sustainable, it augments the income of the poor person, and it also generates employment at a place where employment is most needed. And therefore, rural tourism, ladies and gentlemen, needs greater push and thrust at all levels, and to be done by one and all. I'm confident that the integrated efforts of the governments, the tourism industry, the academia, and the stakeholders will certainly help to harness the untapped potential of rural tourism in coming years. I'm also sure that the deliberations during this conference will further pave the way to take rural tourism in India to commanding heights. Before I close, I once again express my gratitude to Jamia, Millia, Islamia, and the Department of Tourism for giving me this platform to address this august audience. And I would like to thank the audience to have given me a patient hearing. I wish the international conference all the success. Thank you. Jai Hind.